Israel was and still remains a state born from sacrifices and survival, and this is partly due to its effective intelligence services. One of them is the Aman, abbreviated from the Directorate of Military Intelligence, which is the central body of the Israel Defense Forces. It was created in the 1950s and it's one of the main independent entities along with the Mossad and Shin Bet. Since its creation, its department was composed of former members of the Haganah Intelligence Service. Some of the Aman's roles consist of intelligence evaluation and analysis, operations of military nature, and development of special measures for intelligence work. Nevertheless, Shin Bet, the Internal Security Service of Israel, serves the internal security of the country. It is similar to the USA's Federal Bureau of Investigation and takes the roles of law enforcement agency and civilian agency. Despite its strengths, there are rumors that Shin Bet runs a network formed of Palestinian informers and has a role in the assassination of alleged militants. At the same time, the Internal Security Service is famous for its controversial acts against Palestinian prisoners. Any citizen, any policeman or diplomat who commits a crime is subject to interrogation except from Shin Bet officers. Where's the sense in that? Taking into consideration several factors, Mossad still is recognized for its controversial nature. While, on one hand, it has been assisting Jews all over the world, Mossad, due to its operations, took up the name of the most efficient killing machine.
The Mossad is short for Hamossad Lemodin Uletafkidim Meyuhadim, which means the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, and it is the National Intelligence Agency for Israel. The creation of Mossad was part of the Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion acceptance, immediately after the formation of State of Israel. Creating a national agency was one of the main things the state needed. It was formed on 13th December 1949 and later it was known as the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations. The main reason behind its establishment was the need to have a central body which would regulate, harmonize and ameliorate the relations between existing security services. Regarding the leadership, the identities of the directors remained hidden until recently, and it was believed that many of them were army generals who came from the ranks of IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Forces. Furthermore, all were directly responsible to the Prime Minister and occupied the seat in the committee charged of coordinating the Israeli intelligence service. Little is known about the internal structure, numbers of employees, departments, and relations with the other countries. These facts further strengthening the myth regarding the service's efficiency. In fact, official reports were released only due to a diplomatic incident in the United States Embassy in Tehran, after the discovery of a CIA secret document by Iranian militants. The agency is composed of 8 departments, summing up 1.2 thousand employees. Collections, also the largest. The Political Action and Liaison Department, responsible with the coordination of Allied and Internal Secret Services, the Special Operations Division, charged with assassinations, paramilitary operation and sabotage, Lohama Psychology Department, responsible for psychological warfare, propaganda and deception activities, and the Research and Technological Department, assigned with the development of tools and strategies for Mossad. It is particularly interesting the fact that the department is intensively monitoring close allies, the United Nations governments for example, and in particular US, from which it tried to recruit US officials, the Vatican and the Arab countries. On the other hand, it is no surprise that Egypt lies in the first place in this process, among countries which do not have diplomatic relations with Israel. Ranked among top 10 most efficient intelligence services, Mossad established the intelligence services in Ghana and Liberia, trained agents for Argentina, Kenya, South Africa, Taiwan and Zaire, and has direct relations with Mexico, Colombia, Panama, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Japan, South Korea and Indonesia. But not everything is what it seems. Many Mossad operations ended in tragedies, and Operation Wrath of God stands among the biggest failure.
Operation Wrath of God was a counter-terrorism operation directed by Mossad to assassinate individuals suspected of being involved in the 1972 Munich massacre in which Black September killed 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team Although Israel had historically targeted the leaders of organizations such as Fatah, the PLO, and the PFLP, the frequency of such assassinations by Israel escalated dramatically in the wake of the massacre in Munich. The operation was authorized by Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, and it is believed that it continued for over 20 years. For Golda, this is more than just another act of terrorism. The murder of Jews on German soil brings back memories of the Holocaust, still vivid in her mind. She is perceived as the Jewish mother of the Israeli people, and she feels it's her duty to defend her children. Revenge is the only option. A couple of days after the Munich massacre, the Israeli Prime Minister created Committee X, which eventually decided that in order of stopping future violent incidents against Israel, they had to murder all those who were directly or indirectly involved with Black September, the Fatah-affiliated group that had arranged the Munich massacre. The Wrath of God hit squad, also known as Bayonet Operation, was made up mostly of Mossad members, but also Israel Foreign Intelligence Agency, and supported by special operations teams from the IDF. The group spent years tracking down those suspected of planning or participating in the Munich massacre, and as soon as the list was confirmed, the Mossad was left with killing them. Several hours before each assassination, the target family received flowers with a condolence card reading, a reminder, "We do not forget nor forgive." When it came to killing them, they were using 11 bullets, representing the number of Israeli athletes that were killed during the Munich massacre. They were also using a gun like this one, which began to be a weapon of choice for Mossad agents, a gun which would become their calling card. However, despite the claims of the police that the bullets were belonging to Mossad, Israel denies involvement in any of the killings, but would be another event that would bring about the collapse of the operation. One of the major mistakes the Mossad did was the fact that in 1973, the squad misidentified one of its targets and mistakenly killed an innocent man in Norway. The investigation of the crime by the Norwegian authorities led to the arrest and conviction of 5 Mossad operatives, as well as the unrevealing of Mossad's extensive network of agents and safe houses throughout Europe. Meir, responding to intense international pressure, suspended the targeted assassination program.
Ahmed Boucheiki, a Moroccan waiter whose only crime is to resemble Salome, is shot dead in broad daylight in front of his pregnant Norwegian wife.
However, in the 1979 The Wrath of God program was reactivated for a final mission, that of killing Ali Hassan Salme, a Fatah and a Black September operations chief known to the Mossad as the Red Prince. This operation brought about criticism from many people, including foreign writers and politicians, as well as Israeli officials and people closely connected to the organization. A very important critique was former Mossad chief Zvi Zamir, who said that Israel was more interested in striking the infrastructure of the terrorist organizations in Europe than those directly responsible for Munich, and had to start with preventive measures. Finally, former Katza, which is a field intelligence officer of the Mossad, Viktor Ostrovsky, has said that the direction Meir set Mossad on, namely that of focusing heavily on the people and the operations of the PLO, took energy away from the intelligence gathering on Israel's neighbors, leading to Mossad to miss the warning signs of the 1973 Yom Kippur War, which caught Israeli defense by surprise. However, despite the many statements against some of its operations, the Mossad does have some successes as well, and the most important of those address the issues that are related to Jews all over the world and their problems.
Operation Garibaldi was a secret mission of the Israeli intelligence service carried out in Buenos Aires, Argentina in May 1960. This operation was extended, including the localization, kidnapping, and transfer to Israel of fugitive Nazi Adolf Eichmann. Eichmann was the chief logistician of the Holocaust. He drew up the idea of deportation of Jews into ghettos and went about concentrating Jews in isolated areas with cruel efficiency. He took great pride in the role he played in the death of 6 mainly European Jews. The operation began on May 1, 1960, when a group of Israeli espionage agents entered Buenos Aires, directed by Rafael Eitan and under the coordination of Peter Malkin. The 11 agents dispatched to bring Eichmann to Israel were a mixed group from Mossad, the intelligence agency that works on foreign affairs, and Shabak, Israel Domestic Security Office, which had to be called on for help. Mossad, the massive controversial organization who was known for its mysterious way of operating, was not at all back then. Its original mission was mostly getting Jews out of other countries and into new established Israel. The operation task followed Eichmann for almost 2 weeks, which was hidden in Buenos Aires under the name of Ricardo Clement. In full knowledge that they could not request his official extradition, the group tagged fugitive Nazi, obtaining vital information about his whereabouts and location. Eichmann lived in San Fernando district in a humble house on the Garibaldi Street. This is how the special operation was named after. The Israeli secret agents spied Eichmann from a car rented parked near his address, which they changed constantly not to raise suspicions. After days, they already knew his whereabouts and they knew his routine. Eichmann worked as an electrician for a Mercedes-Benz factory. On the evening of May 11, 1960, a 7-man team waited near the bus station where Eichmann arrived each evening for his job at the automobile company. After Eichmann got off the bus, Agent Malkin jumped on him, making sure to put his gloved hand inside Eichmann's mouth in case he had a cyanide pill hidden inside a tube that some of the former top Nazis were known to have in case of capture. 2 agents helped shove Eichmann into the getaway car where a 4th agent awaited. During the captivity, only one person of the operation had authorization to speak with Eichmann, an interrogator called Hans. But Agent Malkin, breaking the protocol, carried out long chats with the Nazi prisoner. Eichmann was held in a safe house for 9 days until the group flew out in an El Al Israel Airlines plane that had brought on an official Israeli delegation to mark Argentina's 105th anniversary. Eichmann was drugged, dressed in an El Al uniform, seated in first class, and passed off as a crew member who was ill. After a long process that caused great impact and controversy in Jerusalem, Eichmann was executed on May 31, 1962, accused of crimes against the Jews. This clandestine operation generated a great debate in Argentina and an energetic protest of the government against Israel, putting in serious risk the diplomatic relations between both countries. The kidnapping was interpreted as a flagrant violation of the Argentine sovereignty, and this was the reason by which Israel denied all responsibility of the mission from the beginning. The official explanation of Israel was that the kidnapping had been carried out by Jewish volunteers, some of them Israelis. Only in 2005, Israel officially recognized that the operation was carried out on the initiative of the regime and by agents of its secret services.